Ariel Helwani post-fight at UFC 126 alongside UFC President Dana White. And Dana, before we get your thoughts on the finish, what was going through your mind the first couple minutes of that main event? Anderson, you could see it just almost morphing into Damian Maia Part 2.
Yeah, I knew for a fact that when these two first came out that they were going to be gun shy and they were going to feel each other out. It'd be interesting to see who threw the first punch. And yeah, when Anderson started moving his hands, I was like, oh, here we go, man.
Did you get legitimately nervous?
Yeah, you know, I always want, you know, we can do all the promotions and do all the things that we do, all the bells and whistles, and at the end of the day, it's in their hands when they step into the cage. And yeah, I get nervous, man. I get ulcers watching this stuff.
All right, so then the actual finish. I don't know about you, never seen anything like that in my life, especially in a finish. What about you?
Video game. That's the only place I've ever seen something like that. He's the greatest fighter in the world. I mean, the guy's so incredibly talented, and when he lets it go, stuff like this happens.
Does a part of you almost wish that he would do stuff like that a little more instead of, you know, just come out, or is that just almost part of how great he is that he picks his spots so well?
It really is how great he is, and you know, I believe that, and you never know when you're dealing with a guy that's as talented as this guy is. You know, you never know what's going on in his head or what he's thinking or what's going on. But I love the way he handled himself through this entire fight, man. And the thing is, it always sounds like I'm nitpicking at the guy, but I'm not. I love how talented this guy is and what he's capable of, and I want so bad to see this guy just, you know, go out and do what he can do.
And correct me if I'm wrong, when Anderson Silva fights his best, it's like I could feel it from you. It doesn't nothing puts you in a better mood, right?
So true. So true, man. So true. Tonight it's weird because I'm in just like I'm nice and calm and relaxed and I feel good, yeah.
All right, what do you think of Vitor's performance?
Well, it didn't last long, so I mean, you didn't really get to see anything from Vitor. And here's my criticism for Vitor. You know, statistically, 85% of Vitor's fights are finished in the first 4 minutes. You know, I thought that Vitor should have come right out and jumped on Anderson Silva. Jumped on him, got right in his face, tried to land punches and make a war out of it right from the beginning.
We announced in the press conference that next for Anderson Silva is George St. Pierre if he beats Jake Shields. We talked to Yushin Okami after the fight, and he still thinks he's getting the next title shot. Are you going to break his heart right now and say that he's going to have to wait?
Yeah, we're probably, if George St. Pierre, listen, everybody keeps talking like it's George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva. It's not yet. George St. Pierre did not win the fight yet. So George St. Pierre's still got to win. And, you know, Jake Shields, this guy's been a sleeper forever. I mean, he's flown in under the radar. He's got great credentials. Everybody in the world thought that Dan Henderson was going to beat that kid, and he didn't. He dominated Dan Henderson. So you can't count Jake Shields out till he's out.
Let's just say George wins. What do you think he'll do with Okami?
I got to figure it out.
If George wins, again, have you already run this by him, this whole scenario? You win, you're going up to 185, you're fighting for the title?
I think he's you know, he knows this is going to happen and he's ready for it.
All right, speaking of titles, John Jones now fighting March 19th for the UFC light heavyweight title. How did this whole situation come about?
We literally made this fight down by the octagon. It happened, you know, I found out this afternoon at like 2 o'clock that Rashad was out. And, you know, this is what we do, man. It's one of the cool things. It's not like boxing where if a guy falls out, you know, you got to postpone the fight. When guys fall out here, we make fights. When we made that fight, Ticketmaster went nuts. People were on, as soon as it was announced in the octagon tonight, one of my girls that works for me texted me and said, Ticketmaster's going nuts right now. People are buying tickets like crazy.
What happened to Evans?
He has a sprained ligament in his knee, and it looks like they put a real good brace on it. It looks like he's not going to need surgery, but he's going to have to rest it for like 8 weeks.
In a weird way, is this almost a lesson learned for fighters from your perspective? Don't wait for title shots, be active.
Listen, that's what I said, man. I saw out there people were criticizing me. What's, you know, their coaches are telling them this. Let me tell you what, man, when you're a fighter, you want to fight as many times as you possibly can and stay busy. Not just obviously financial reasons, you need it for the money, but the way that you get better at fighting is by fighting. I don't care how much you train or what you do, timing and everything that goes into it is from fighting. And any guy that thinks differently, they're wrong.
You moved John Jones along very nicely, very slowly, and you wanted to build him up nicely. You've said that. Any concerns at 6 weeks, his age, this might be too soon?
Listen, the guy's proved himself over and over and over again. I mean, he's taken everybody out. Every challenge that's been put in front of him, he's finished. Is he still a young guy, 23 years old? And yeah, he is, but you know, he's so talented. He's so talented, and even tonight in such a big fight, he was in there. I'm sure he was nervous and had all those things, but he was so calm and cool, you know, and he did walk through Bader.
Okay, 2 last questions. Just want to get your thoughts on Forrest Griffin. He was critical of his performance. It's been a while. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, Forrest Griffin is Forrest Griffin. He goes out there, he won all 3 rounds against Rich Franklin. I mean, Rich Franklin's a tough guy who not only can he knock you out at any time, but he's great on the ground. He's a busy guy. The only criticism I have in that fight is I was listening to the audio, and Rich Franklin's corner kept telling him he was winning the fight. Crazy. And then after the fight, they're like, they say all 3 rounds go to Forrest, and Rich Franklin's like, what's up? You know, his corner was telling him he was winning the fight. It's crazy.
And finally, Miguel Torres got a lot of boos, but I thought, you know, considering his evolution, this was a very smart fight that he fought. What do you think of his fight?
I thought Miguel Torres fought an awesome fight tonight. I mean, the kid is fighting a guy this tall. What are you going to do? Run in there and bang with this kid? And you stand right on the outside and you pick him apart. He hit him with beautiful jabs, hitting him with big right hands, and he, you know, he was busting him up the entire fight. Antonio stayed on the outside of the jab, never worked his way in, literally stood out on the outside, and then 10 seconds left in the 3rd round, he closed the distance and got inside. Antonio needed to do that in the 1st round, and if he didn't, he should have done it in the 2nd round, not 10 seconds left of the 3rd round.
All right, thank you for the time, Dana. Congrats on a huge event.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.